All right, Felipe, man, I'm excited about this one. Your hottest take. I'm coming in hot on this one. So I'm gonna give this hottest take. It's why we have this hottest take because they're fun. I'm gonna give this one I'm gonna give it an F. All right, I'm gonna give this one an F. You believe, like everybody else, parents apparently believes Michael Jordan would average 45. I've heard 50. His agent said 60. But you think, yeah, he can get 45. You know what this is, Felipe? You know what this is? You know what you're on right now? You're on a heavy dose of recency bias. That's what you're on right now. That's what you're on right now. That's all it is. That's all it is. We got The Last Dance. We got, Michael's not really out on the scene like that. But now, we got The Last Dance, showed him who's boss and how good he was. But here's the thing. With the 45 points per game thing, people want to say, I got some points for this, that, back then, or nowadays, the pace is higher. There's more possessions. The pace is a lot higher than back then. It's more up and down. It's actually false. Collectively throughout the decade, sure. But in Michael Jordan's highest scoring year in 1986-87, when he averaged 37 a game, the pace of play was 100.8. 100.8. Today, it's 100.2. So relatively the same, actually a little more. So therefore, there's no more possessions for Michael. Like people want to argue if he gets more possessions. That's actually a lie. You're not. Another one is MJ. He already shot 28 times a game, so he topped out at 37 in the same pace, 37 points per game in the same pace, and he averaged 28 shots a game. If you put yourself in today's game, I don't think he's shooting 28. James Harden don't even shoot 28. He shoots 24, and we think that's just unworldly. So I don't even think he shoots 28 times a game. I think he shoots around 24, 25 or less.
Under what kind of circumstances was he shooting those 28 shots? So that's the difference. The pace of play might have been slightly faster, might have been the same. It could have been slower. But at the end of the day, it's the physicality of the game that made
I'll get into that.
That made the game different than it is today. That slowed it down. James Harden averaging mid-30s, whatever he's averaging nowadays, is getting half his points from the free throw line. Jordan wasn't, because today, if James Harden gets touched today, we're talking about today's game, and James Harden knows how to
He's manipulative. He manipulates the refs.
Knows how to take advantage of it and everything. So if basketball was played the same way it was back then today, then he would get even more, right? But think about Michael Jordan playing today. If and touched was a foul, then think about all the 3-point opportunities that he would have, and he'd be able to take advantage of the systematic foul calls like James Harden does in the same way he does. So you're driving up the attempts because of multiple different aspects. He's going to be able to get there more because he's going to be able to take advantage of it. And he's going to get there more because just if you breathe on somebody today, it's a foul. That's increasing his style of play. That's increasing his ability to play within the game because he's not going to be getting roughed up. So that's going to increase his scoring average. I mean, there's too many things to look at rather than just the speed of the game.
I mean, Jordan did shoot 12 free throws a game in that 86-87 season. Most of his career, he shot around 10, 11, 12 a game. So he's already shooting.
It'd be today, though. So today, 2025.
Yeah, no. Not free throws, no, because LeBron doesn't even shoot. He shoots like 6 free throws a game, and he's going to the hole 80% of the time. So a player like that, if Jordan was going to go to the hole all the time, I think the thing is, the reason Harden gets these calls is because he manipulates the refs into these leaners, into these reading where their arm's where there's gonna be. We're not who's to say Jordan's gonna know that, because Harden's the only one we've ever seen do that. Like, it doesn't mean it has nothing to do with greatness or not. It's just his mind of, hey, I know how to manipulate the defenders and the refs. But another thing is, so like I got a couple more points. If in 86-87 when he averaged 37, Kobe played in the hand checking era, right? Or not Kobe, Jordan, the hand checking era, right? Y'all talk about the hand check, blah, blah, this. That ended in around 04, 05. So I'm going to bring Kobe into this because Kobe played in both. He played in hand check, non-hand check. After the hand check era, Kobe's highest was 35 points per game. Great, 35 points. After that, you went to 31, 28, 27, blah, blah, this, blah, blah, that. And he shot 6 threes a game, 6 threes. So he was shooting 6 more than MJ was. So are we saying that Michael Jordan is 10, 11, 12 points per game better than Kobe Bryant? Like, I don't believe that at all. He's not 10 points per game better. So no, he's not. 10 points per game. And Kobe was shooting 6 threes. And the efficiency, Kobe was shooting 45. MJ was about 48 that year. So I don't see MJ's going to have to shoot about, if he shoots 6 threes a game, say, okay, 3-point air, 6 games. We're taking the single most efficient shot other than a sky hook that MJ has as a mid-range. He's the most deadliest mid-range shooter we've seen. So now if he's shooting 6 threes, we're taking away 6 mid-range shots. He's not making all those threes. He's going to make 2 of them, 2 a game, 2.5. So we're taking away 6 mid-range shots that he hits at a 50% clip. So we're taking away 12 points, 6, 7 points right there. So once it tops out, it's going to top out about the same.
I don't think you're necessarily taking away those those mid-range shots from him.
What's 50%? You don't think you think he's going to shoot 34 times a game? Come on, he ain't shooting that many times.
He'll have more of a great look. The shot Steph Curry is taking today, you would never take back then, regardless if you were taking the same amount of twos or not. So Jordan's going to have more 3-point looks. Yeah, you're saying his percentage would be lower at 3-point than it would be taking his mid-range shots. That's the whole point of analytics. That's the whole reason there's more 3-point shots today. The 2-point shot in general is going to go in more than a 3-point shot, but the reason 3-point shots are Mike D'Antoni and the Rockets and everybody started this whole 3-point trend is because a 3 is worth more than a 2. So I can make less 3s than I make 2s, and it's gonna top out more than if I just made 2s. Michael Jordan would be able to get his scoring average up just from that. And the Kobe comparison, I mean, look, the player who made this statement is Shaq. I know we've heard it from many different players. We've heard it from Shaq. We've heard it from others. But Shaq played with Michael Jordan in his prime when he was on the Magic. He played with Kobe in his prime, and he played with LeBron James, you could say, in his prime, in the beginning of his prime. I mean, LeBron was already MVP. So he's played with all these players. He's crossed paths with Steph Curry, with James Harden, with Kevin Durant in the time that he was a player. So he's seen it. He's seen it all. He's seen Michael Jordan did what he did. He's seen Kobe do what he did and LeBron do what he did. So I think a player, it's not like Bill Russell saying that. No, it's not Larry Bird saying that. It's not even Magic saying that. It's Shaq saying it from a standpoint of a player who's played with all these guys.
Recency bias. When you look at, there's no way to logically or there's no way to really compare eras, right? Like, hey, like we don't know. It's all hypothetical. It's all theory. So only way you can do it is by statistics. Technically, is hey, statistically now. Let's go back to statistically back in that day, and then compare. That's really the only way you can measure because everything else is hypothetical. So I just don't believe nowadays in basketball, there's more 3-point shots, right? There's more players who are coming off screens for 3-point shots. So there's more looks. Oh, this guy's going to be open now. There's more screens. There's more pick and roll play. So it's a lot less isolation collectively around the league. So to say MJ is just going to have the green light and go shoot 30-some times a game. If that's the argument, hey, MJ is going to shoot 34 times a game, that's fine. He can average 45. Guess who else would average 45 if they average 30 shots? Kevin Durant. Guess who else? I guarantee LeBron. LeBron never hit. He's at 20 once. Kevin Durant tops out about 19, 20. If those guys shoot as much as them with their efficiency, they're going to do the same thing. So if we want to argue he's got the green light, he's going to shoot 100 times, then yeah, he's going to score 100. He's going to score 45 points. I truly believe that. I think he will. But he's not. He's not going to shoot that much. It's a different league. There's more ball movement. There's more.
There is more ball movement, but so like you think, because what it comes down to is this, exactly what you just said, that yeah, if Kevin Durant was able to take as many shots as Jordan would if he was taking that amount of shots with that high volume and everything, that Kevin Durant would be able to get 45 as well. That's why I disagree. I don't think so. I think Jordan would be able to be more efficient and score more. Yeah,
he's not more efficient than Kevin. They're about the same efficient. Kevin Durant's up there with the great. If you want to argue Kevin Durant's greatest scorer ever, I wouldn't argue against that from anybody. 7-foot shooter, shoots over anybody, shoots better 3-ball shooter, and post up.
And I would agree with that, but like you said, it's a bunch of hypotheticals. My point is, Shaq has played with all these guys, so from his standpoint, it's not merely a statistic. I'm looking at statistics and trying to compare errors through statistics. He saw all these guys with his own eyes, and he played with them, and he saw himself how these guys.
Yeah, but that could just be fandom. Like if you play with somebody, it could be fandom. Like it doesn't mean it's necessarily true. It could be because you like this guy more than that guy. Like I guarantee.
It holds more weight than a random analyst who didn't play the game looking at stats and saying this could happen or this couldn't happen.
I mean, well, not really because we're talking about it. I mean, analysts, they know their stuff too. Yeah, sure, it might not hold the exact same weight, but not all NBA players or athletes know the sport. Like, not a lot of them. There's some people out there who just say outlandish things. And, like, so
I would say Shaq.
analysts can know more. But here's, you can, I just because Shaq said it, I can go find, I guarantee there's players who agree that he hasn't. He wouldn't average 45. Oh, no, he wouldn't average 45. It's just not logical. It's not. And another here's this other argument I have for you. If Kevin Durant, like y'all say, would average 45, does that make, because back in that 86-87 season, and does that make Alex English, who was the second leading scorer, average 29 a game? Larry Bird averaged 28. Mikal averaged 27. Now we got to bump them 8 points up, right? So now we got a 45 MJ, a 37 Alex English, a 36 Larry Bird, a 35 Kevin McHale, because it can't be a one-way street. It's got to be two. So that means we got 4. Dominique Wilkins, he's averaging 38 now. He averaged about 29 during that time.
Those guys aren't considered the greatest player of all time, though.
That doesn't matter, though, because they averaged that in the harder error when MJ averaged it. So that, if we're going back today's game, if it's so much easier, like people say, then they should have no problem if they average 30 in the harder error, quote unquote, then they should be able to bump theirs by 8 points like MJ. They can develop. They're great players too.
I think the status of being the greatest player in the world, in Michael Jordan's case, just in the same way Kobe was, where Kobe was able to, as he got older and athleticism curved down a little bit, he was able to focus more on his post game, on his jump shots, everything like that, rather than flying through the air. Michael Jordan, I think would be the same thing. I think he would adapt better than these other guys. Larry Bird was. Larry Bird couldn't hang with the athleticism of these guys today. The difference is Michael Jordan could. Michael Jordan could hang with these guys as far as athleticism goes. You know what I mean? There are a few players who you could definitively say, all right.
Dominique, he was athletic.
Okay, but he wasn't the scorer LeBron Michael Jordan was.
He averaged 30. That's a great score, so he should be able to average 38. Let's give the 8 points to everybody.
For how long though? Like we're talking about sustained. We're talking about sustained excellence. Michael Jordan would do that, like sustain that.
So Dominique, I believe, was around 29, 30, 28, 30, 27 for like year by year. He was up there, and he was a high flyer. I just believe, like this, I'm gonna get this from Nick Wright said this. MJ also averaged 37 when they weren't winning. When they started winning, he topped out at about 31 a game. So he was doing that when they weren't winning. So we assume if MJ played now, he would be winning or be on a winning team. I mean, that's what I guess the hypothetical is. So if he didn't average 37 on a winning team, he topped out at 32 and it was really around 31 for that time when he won. So really, we're giving him like 14 points now. That's how much points we're giving to him. It's just not logical. He's not shooting 30 times a game. He's technically going to be shooting less. He's going to be chasing around shooters now on defense. Legs are going to be more tired. You got to fight through more pick and rolls. And there wasn't even one more thing. There wasn't even a zone back then. It was illegal. Now you might say there's not that much zone in the NBA. There's not that much zone, but there's about 5 to 6 possessions a game now of zone. When he played, it was literally illegal. There was no zone. So these 5 to 6 times a game that teams are playing now per synergy on NBA.com, that could be 5-6 times that MJ is going to shoot the ball. So that right there could take away looks. Not to mention the players are a lot more athletic. Like you even said, athleticism is a lot different. So I just believe it's not logical. It's too hard. He's not shooting 40 times a game. And if he adapts to the three-point shot, he's not changing his whole game to be James Harden. James Harden is the only one that shoots 13 times. Let's quit the comparison with Harden. Because MJ wouldn't do that. Steph didn't do that. It's stupid to shoot 13 threes. I don't think MJ's stupid.
Okay, here's the thing. Jordan was a great defender when he was playing.
Yeah,
he gave his all defensive when he was playing. It wouldn't change today. It wouldn't necessarily.
But the skill level now is a lot different. You got more crafty guys handling the rock. It's a lot harder to defend. It's more tiresome because you got a lot more movement running around. Imagine him trying to chase Klay Thompson for 4 quarters. That takes a wear and tear on you. Chasing Steph Curry, it's a wear and tear on you.
And he wasn't defending the best player. The best players of that era can hang with the best players of today, I believe. But I don't think it makes it any different. Now, you giving your 100%, regardless of who you're covering. I could be giving my 100% covering a garbage man. I'm still giving 100%, and the energy I'm exhausting is going to be the same type of energy. Jordan's going to be exhausting that same energy. The only thing that would change would be the style of play of today. I mean, zone defense, man defense, whatever it is, he's going to find his way to score. I think it just comes down to Michael Jordan being the great player that he is and being considered the greatest of all time for most people, with the exception of some that think LeBron is. He would be able to adapt and he'd be able to score easily in a league.
I believe he would be able to adapt too.
I'd be more open. Huh?
I mean, yeah, I believe he would be able to adapt today's game too. I just don't believe we don't see players shooting 28 times a game. You know, that's when he was on a losing team. Winning team, he wasn't doing that either. So he already knew, hey, shooting this much probably isn't beneficial. And it just we don't see that he's not changing his whole mid-range game to shoot 13 threes like James Harden. Because like I said, James Harden is the only one that does that. He's the only player we see do that. That's why he averaged 36. But he's not gonna.
Curry would be shooting all them threes, and if he played in the 90s.
Who, Steph Curry?
Yeah.
I don't know if he'd shoot 13. It's just not winning basketball. That's why the Rockets. That's why they cap out in the playoffs. It's not winning. It's not winning material. 13 hard contested. I just think like we can people and like you're using. I think or I he's so good. I believe, but that's just all. It's all theory. Like using the statistics to kind of back it up. Saying, hey, if he did this in the same pace, if he shot this many times, we don't see that now. I just don't see how it would happen in today's game.
And you might be right. Yeah, like if Jordan played in today's game, it's undoubtedly he'd definitely be a top 3 player. If not, definitely like number 1.
I don't think MJ's just coming here in a scrub. That's not what I'm saying at all. But I think MJ, he was a great player. Like obviously.
Be the exact same. You think his scoring average would be the exact same?
If not a little less. I just don't see – you don't see players just because like – and this is what, like I said, what Nick Wright said. When they were winning, he wasn't averaging 37 in a game. It was around 31, 32. When he was losing, that's when he was shooting those 28 shots, averaging 37. So I believe, yeah, he would average probably around – he could average – I don't know how much he'd average, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was 30. Wouldn't be surprised if it was around 33. That's my argument. 45, ain't nobody doing that. Unless you shoot 30 times a game, 35 times, yeah, you could do it. But that's not winning basketball.